Well, here we are. A couple of days before Christmas, depending on when you watch this, we are heading into the final days and week before the new year. How's your year been? I'm sure there's been some wins. I'm sure there's been some opportunities to learn, challenges that we've all faced. I hear lots of people say, well, next year's going to be better, or next year's going to be different. We generally have this optimism towards the new year, and I'm no different. And so I want to talk about that a bit today. I want to share with you some thoughts and ideas I have about maybe approaching 2022 from a fresh perspective and looking at it from the perspective of who God is calling us to become in the year ahead. I had the opportunity to have coffee earlier this week with a really great friend of mine. He was sharing with me how he really has accomplished all of the goals that he had kind of set out for himself when he was in his late teens, kind of early 20s, but now he's kind of walking through what's next for him. It was so fascinating because what we came down to, that what he was looking for in this sort of future career that he wasn't seeing in what he was currently working on, was that he wanted to have impact. And I think a lot of us feel this way. We think that we want XYZ accomplishment, but what we're actually looking for is more of something like impact. We want something actually to be more part of our identity, part of who we are, rather than just ticking off the box of an accomplishment. Oh, I did that and accomplished that, and that's a win. The win is important, but who we become in the process is so much more important. So I started to think about some of my own goal setting that I've done. I grew up in a family where goal setting was something we did every January. And often goal setting is very accomplishment focused. It's very much focused on, well, what do you want to accomplish in the next year? So I want to run a marathon, or I want to write a book, or whatever it is. I want to record an album. I want a new job. I want to change my career. It's always very accomplishment focused. But as I've thought about goal setting, what I'm really looking for is not the accomplishment. I'm looking for who I become in the process. I'm looking for that to be a part of my identity, so that when I do reach that accomplishment, that I feel like that's a part of who I am. That's a part of who I am as a person. A great example is, so this last year, so I published the book, and it's been on my goal list for a number of years, which I've shared, right? So there was the accomplishment of publishing the book, but who I became in the process was a published author. And that's what I really wanted. I wanted to be able to impact people's lives through a book and be able to put that out there into the community and be able to uplift and encourage people through it. And so it's become a part of my identity, but it wasn't a one-time thing. I wrote that book. I was becoming that through the entire writing process. And now talking about the book and sharing the book with other people and being able to uplift and encourage people through the book has been an incredible blessing, because it's become a part of who I am. And it's so much more than just the moment of November 19th when that book became available on Amazon. That's just sort of one point in the journey, if that makes sense. And so I started to look at my goal setting and go, wow, there's a lot of things in here where I've set some accomplishment goals, but what I'm really looking for is, how does that tie into my identity, and how can I become the type of person that achieves those goals? And so I started working over the last couple of weeks around, well, how can we look at goal setting from a different perspective? Because God really spoke to me this year, and he spoke very clearly. He said to me, he says, 2022 is not about what you can accomplish. 2022 is all about who you can become. And that's so much more than just what we can accomplish. And so as I thought about that, and I took that, and I was so encouraged by it, I was like, well, hold on a second. I've been looking at goal setting all wrong. So what I've been working on is a workbook that I want to share with you today. It's a free resource to you that I've built. Never done this before, so it's going to have lots of opportunities to learn. I'm calling it the Identity Focused Goal Setting Workbook. And what I wanted to do was give us a tool we can look at some of the key areas of our life and break them down and ask some questions. Where would I like to be 12 months from now when I'm living out God's call in my life in the area of my health, or my finances, or my family? And then, how do I get there? What are the tiny, simple steps that I can make on a daily basis, and I can make it consistently, that's going to move me towards that goal? And I'm excited to sit down and actually really dive into it this year between Christmas and New Year's, and walk out, what is 2022 going to look like from this framework of who would I like to become, and how can I potentially get there? Next week, have the workbook, if you can have it printed out, or whenever, available to you when you're going to watch the video. I want to walk through it. I want to walk through some of the key areas, present some examples, walk through some actionable items, and then talk through, what are we going to face? What are some of the potential ups and downs and challenges? What might throw us off track? Can we start to look ahead and look around corners and see, what we could do when the challenges do strike, to be able to keep ourselves going and moving into the direction of God's purpose? I'm very excited for all that God's calling you to in 2022. It's going to be an absolutely incredible year. All the incredible blessings that are coming your way. I hope you have an absolutely amazing Christmas, and I look forward to sharing with you again next week.